in our effort to get as many people out as fast as we can, while we had the airport functioning, we focused on doing just that. And we're doing accountings on the back end as people arrive in the United States.
That's your Secretary of State admitting that he didn't care about vetting these folks before we brought them to U.S. soil. And if you thought they would be securely held on U.S. military bases, well, think again. In an Ingram Angle exclusive, Afghan war vet and Congressman Mark Green shared a letter he just sent to Secretary Blinken. I've recently been made aware of someone at Fort Pickett, Virginia, that Afghan evacuees basically have free reign of the complex and have even been allowed to leave despite not having completed the vetting process. My source has made shocking allegations, including multiple incidents of sexual assault, and several evacuees have been picked up by Uber drivers without any permission from authorities or being cleared to leave. Congressman Mark Green joins me now. Congressman, that their records are being looked at on the back end was stunning enough, but what you're reporting tonight is truly shocking.
Laura, it's crazy, and it's not just Fort Pickett. I'm talking to sources that are at multiple locations. You know, the real challenge here is directions from state. You know, DOD is getting its directions on how to handle these situations by the State Department, and the State Department is failing to give them adequate information. They're letting them leave. They can catch an Uber and actually leave the base. They don't know exactly how many are even there, so they can't account for someone if they don't return. And they're telling the people, oh, if you go and you don't come back, well, that will end your visa processing. But if they want free, they're gone. There's nobody keeping them from leaving. And then you get the shocking allegations of harassment and sexual assault, and it's horrific.
Well, Congressman, isn't it also the case, as the New York Times reported over the weekend, that many of these individuals arrived in the United States with no documents?
Yes.
We don't. So when Millie says, "Oh no, they're going through several levels of databases," against what? We don't know who they are.
Yeah, we don't have biometrics on a good portion of these people, and we can't really get information from state because they won't provide names. They won't provide any information on the people, the numbers that they have. They won't even tell us how many American citizens they evacuated. We tried to get that number, requested through the National Defense Authorization Act the other day, and I couldn't get that passed. It's just crazy. This State Department is a complete failure.
Well, here's how DHS Secretary Mayorkas thinks that the vetting is actually how it's going.
We're dealing with very, very few people that have given us any cause for concern.
The Taliban, when they took control, released thousands of prisoners, including members of ISIS and Al-Qaeda. Can you guarantee that none of those prisoners are making their way into the United States?
I can guarantee you that we are doing everything possible to make sure that they don't.
But Congressman, it's clear that they aren't. And we have thousands and thousands just 10 miles from here at Dulles Airport on the 20th anniversary of 9/11. We don't know who a lot of these individuals are. Is that not true?
That is absolutely true. There are many of them that had zero documentation at all. A very large number of them, like 20, 30%.
Well, and it turns out that anyone who got onto those airplanes because of a humanitarian concern, someone pushed their way up to the front or was infirm, and a lot of people were infirm. They were there for hours and days. It was a terrible, awful scene, heartbreaking. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of individuals, it was reported, were grabbing women and children and saying, oh, this is my wife. But we have no record to show that they actually are even related. Same thing happening at our southern border. Is that not the case?
That is absolutely true. We don't have any documentation. We can't prove that family units, they can do DNA tests, but unfortunately, these people are just being allowed to leave the cantonment areas. They can just get up and walk out, and that's from multiple sites, not just Pickett. And they're not tracked. They're not accounted for. We have no way of knowing who they are. And we've had talks with people who are saying they know Taliban is in some of these flights. So this is one of the greatest security risks this nation has ever had, and this president and State Department don't seem to care.
Oh, Tony Blinken looks like he's being held hostage, okay, half the time. Congressman, we're going to stay on this. The State Department had no response to your letter. We reached them, and we tried to reach them, and zero response. Biden's lie of the day, the last bite, is next.